Welcome back to Access Houston on 97.9 The Box.
Good Sunday morning. You're listening to Access Houston. I'm your host, KG Smooth. Welcome and first timer to the program. And he's going to help us out tremendously. Everyone. He's going to help us out. He is the corporate vice president of marketing for Nisus Corporation, Mr. Jim Gorman. Good morning, sir.
Hey, KG, thank you so much for having me here. I appreciate it.
Thank you for being here. Tell us about Nisus and what you all do, the business that you all are.
We're a chemical manufacturer, and we make a line of green pest control products that we sell to the pest control industry, professional products. And then we make a line of green wood preservatives that replacement for creosote and pentachlorophenol. So chemicals that are just a little bit gentler for the environment, but really, really work well.
Yeah.
One of our products, Boracare, is a termiticide. So when you build a new house, instead of pumping soil chemicals into the ground, you actually can spray the first 2 feet of the structure, the wood, with this Boracare product. And the Boracare will stop termites from attacking the whole structure. They can't get past that 2-foot barrier. And, since we've started, we have probably saved 400 to 500 million gallons of soil termiticide from being pumped into the ground.
Wow. So
it's just a nicer, cleaner, gentler way to do it. And the active ingredient in that product is a borate mineral salt. And for everybody over 45, they'll remember 20 mule team borax. And that's the active ingredient. And so once it gets in the wood, it just remains in the wood. And insects can't eat it, beetles can't, and it won't rot. And it actually provides a little bit of fire protection as well. The wood just doesn't burn as well as good wood. So it's kind of like all the problems with wood go away if it's treated with Boracare. So that was our original product. And when the hurricane came through in Punta Gorda, Florida years ago, everybody had to leave for 6 weeks. And so the middle of Florida, the middle of summer, they're out of their house for 6 weeks. When they came back in and started tearing out sheetrock, the walls were just full of black mold. We got to a house that had been treated with Boracare, and the wall was full of mold right down till you got to that 2-foot part, and there was no mold on the wood, on the wall. So we realized that we hadn't really thought much about the mold protection side. So we decided we would add a moldicide to the product. So we actually kind of have a co-pack. It has the Boracare, and then it has a mold killer along with it. And we launched that product, and it was about a year before Katrina that we did that. And Katrina hit, and the pest companies in that market, a lot of them that they were just out of business. Their business was flooded. Their employees were flooded. Their customers were flooded. Nobody needed pest control. And we went down there and just started training them on how to do this work, how to go in and clean out a house, and then how to spray and disinfect and then treat the wood after you're done. And we had a couple companies that came back and said, you guys saved our business. We would have gone out of business, but you guys gave us, and also keep your crew, because if you don't have work for your crew, they got to go somewhere else and work. So the Center for Healthy Housing decided they were going to do a test, and they tested 24 different moldicide products that were available commercially. And it was going to be a 6-month-long test. They got, and Boracare with mold care was one of them. They got 6 weeks into the test, and they stopped it, and they said, Boracare with mold care. That's what we're going to recommend. Nothing else is working anywhere close. So that gave us confidence to, really move forward. And then, Baton Rouge happened again down there training, and now here. So we had training. We trained 200 pest control companies yesterday.
Wow.
And, we show them what to do and how to do it. And, we have a whole training protocol that they go through. And, these guys are used to working with products like this. They know how to mix it. They know how to apply it and so forth. So the first thing that we tell people to do is that you need to disinfect, because the floodwaters contained very high levels of E. coli. We've had 2 university studies that were done that confirmed it, and one of them showed E. coli levels at 135% above the normal level that is acceptable. So we disinfect first before people even clean anything out. We go in with a product called DSV. It's a disinfectant, sanitizer, and viricide, and you just spray everything. You spray all the junk. You spray everything that you're going to have to get rid of, and you disinfect the entire house so that as people are working, you've killed a lot of the pathogens that they would be exposed to. Once that's done, then everybody starts hauling the stuff out. And, if you've seen some of the footage, you've got to pretty much get rid of everything.
Yeah.
And that flooded water, it's, everything goes. It's carpet, it's sheetrock, it's all those things. And so once you get all that out, then you have to tear out the drywall. And that has to be removed up at least a foot or 2 foot above wherever the flood water line was. But in some houses, like we saw yesterday, they were sitting full of water for 2 weeks. And so even though the water line was up about 4 foot, there was mold already growing way up above that. So in those homes, you have to tear out all the sheetrock.
So typically, how tall does the mold grow in situations like this?
Well, if there's a lot of moisture and it's warm, it just grows everywhere. Yeah. And the longer it has to grow, the more it'll grow. So and so then at that point, you're just tearing everything out, including, like, this guy he'll have to tear out his ceilings, he'll have to tear out the drywall all the way up. And they actually did it because we were there at 6 o'clock this morning, and yesterday all the drywall was in, and today it's all gone.
You listen to Access Houston. We're talking to Jim Gorman, who is the VP of Marketing at Nisus Corporation. Going to give you some tips on how to properly and effectively disinfect, treat, and secure all the flood damage that is in your home due to Hurricane Harvey. What is the proper way to disinfect? What should people use initially? Is it something that they can buy, or should they, Lord forbid, no one can spend extra money with all of this, or someone that they need to hire to clean this stuff? What do you suggest?
So the product that we have is called DSV, and that stands for disinfectant, sanitizer, and viricide, and it just kills all sorts of pathogens. 1 gallon of the concentrate will make 64 gallons of product. So it's very concentrated, but you'll need almost that much to spray your entire structure. And you can buy a number of other EPA registered disinfectants. You really don't want to use bleach in this instance, and bleach does kill mold on hard surfaces, but on porous surfaces, not as good. It also has a lot of volatile organic compounds, so the odor when you're doing bleach is pretty overwhelming. These products, we sprayed in the house. We sprayed yesterday. There was a bunch of people in there, and then they came back in, and it smelled so much better. It was so much easier for them to work in. So I would just suggest any EPA registered disinfectant. Ours is available online at fixflood.com, but all these pest companies we've trained, they can come in and do that work as well. They can just come in and spray down everything. And then once everything's cleaned out and you're down to the studs, they can come back and spray the wood. And we can talk about that a little bit because that's important as well.
Yeah, I'm wondering how you ended up here. I see that according to your card that Nisus is in Tennessee, and so you coming up and training all of all of these folks for the right thing. How did all of that? I mean, I know the history with with the flooding, what you talked about earlier, but you getting to Houston, can you tell that story?
Well, what we've kind of seen is that when an area gets flooded that really hasn't been flooded before, there's a lot of people that just don't know what to do. They don't know what to do. And we really saw that in Baton Rouge. And so we actually developed this instruction sheet that is on our fixflood.com website.
Okay.
Because of the people that, we had the product and we were providing it to pest control companies and we were training the pest guys what to do. But there's so many homes that a lot of people just have to do it themselves because they can't get it done quick enough.
Yeah.
And so we decided, well, they just need it. They need these instructions. They need to know what to do. So that first step is disinfect. The second step, and even before you disinfect, you want to go in there and you want to wear either a full respirator or one of the masks to keep yourself safe. You want to wear muck boots or boots that will protect you because that E. coli is everywhere. And you want to wear gloves, long sleeves, pants. And we see a lot of people cleaning up and they're just wearing shorts and flip-flops.
Right. So you want to cover your body up.
Yeah, you do. And then those clothes go in the washer and they get disinfected. And then you have to make sure the electricity is off when you start because you don't want to run into any troubles there. But once you've disinfected, then you start removing all the stuff, all the mud, get all the extra water out of there. And then you go back and start cutting out the drywall. And, depending on how damaged it is, you decide, well, we need to be a foot above the water line or we see mold, so it's really all got to go. And you get all that out. Once that's done, your house is kind of like down to the bare studs. Yeah. And, you can walk through the walls again, just like if it was new construction. Then we apply Boracare with mold care. And Boracare with mold care is this product that I've been telling you about. And what it does is it kills existing mold, but then it prevents
future mold from growing.
Yeah. And it is, there's products out like at Home Depot or Lowe's that say, they will prevent mold. But when we put those products to the test, we would spray half with Boracare with mold care and half with that product. And what we would see was in 6 weeks, those other products would be growing mold. But the Boracare with mold care product wouldn't.
I'm sure you all have saved many of home structures and folks a lot of money since the creation of Boracare with mold care.
Yeah, we really have. And we've learned an awful lot of lessons in both Katrina and Baton Rouge. And one of the lessons we learned is that there's a lot of people that come down just to make money. And in Baton Rouge, we've got a number of the companies we work with who are having to go back to homes that other companies treated and they didn't use the right products and they closed the walls too quickly, and they're now growing mold in the walls of those homes. And so the families are having to figure out what to do. We actually worked with some of the guys down there to create a protocol so that they wouldn't have to tear the sheetrock out again in those instances to help them do that. But so one of the most important things is you can apply Boracare with mold care immediately. It actually is better to apply it when it's wet because the borate migrates into the wood based on the moisture. Mm-hmm. So the borate actually moves into the wood based on the moisture. So if there's a high moisture content, you get deeper penetration quicker. And so as soon as you've got it down to the bare studs, then you can go ahead and do bore care with mold care on those walls, on those studs, the wood studs. And you definitely don't want to do bleach on wood because bleach will actually break down the ligands in the wood and it starts to degrade the wood right away. So you definitely don't want bleach for that purpose. So then once that is done, then you have to redo the termite treatment on the house. So all houses down here are treated for termites. Yeah. Well, when you get that flood, that termite treatment is gone.
It's washed off.
Yeah. There's 3 kinds of termite treatments. One is soil, one is wood, and one is bait stations. All 3 of those are wiped out by a flood. So while all your walls are open, it's a good time to do a Boracare termite treatment, and that is a 1-to-1 ratio of the Boracare, but you only have to spray it up 2 feet because that 2 foot is enough to stop the termites as they come up from the ground and try to attack the home. And the Boracare termite treatment is great because soil treatments really have to be redone about every 5 years. The bait stations have to be monitored all the time, so there's an expense associated with that. When you put in a Boracare treatment, it's in the wood and it just stays in the wood for the life of the wood. And now when it floods, you have to redo it because if it's exposed to a lot of flooding. But so it's a great kind of termite treatment because number one, you're not pumping chemicals into the ground, good for the environment. Number two, it provides that long-term residual protection. And number three, it's great because the walls are open. You can go ahead and do the treatment, which is perfect. So once that's done, then you can go ahead and start drying out the structure. And you need dehumidifiers and you need fans, and you got to get that air moving, as much air as you can moving through that structure. Then you need to get a moisture meter, and you can buy them at Lowe's or Home Depot, and they have 2 little pins on the end, and you pin them into a piece of wood, and it'll tell you how much moisture is in the wood. So we were at a home yesterday, and we checked the wood, and it had 33% moisture. And this is a home that all the drywall had been taken out, and they've been blowing fans, and so, but it needs to be down to 15% before you close the walls, because if you close those walls up and it's still full of moisture, it's mold is going to happen.
Defeat the purpose.
Yep, and that's what's happening in Baton Rouge. So if some of these companies, they just want to get in there, get it cleaned out, get the new sheetrock up and move on. Well, if you do that too quickly, you're setting yourself up for failure. And so if there's a company that's redoing your house, if they're taking the stuff out and they want to just close it up right away, you have to say, no, we can't do it until that moisture content in the wood is at 15. And as a homeowner, I'm telling you, you go buy a moisture meter, you use it, and you are the one that tells them when it's ready to do it.
Wow. You listen to Access Houston. We're talking to Jim Gorman, the VP of Marketing for Nisus Corporation. Man, we have covered a lot in these 20 minutes. In case you missed it, this interview will be up on the Box's YouTube page as well as on theboxhouston.com. Just go down to Access Houston, and this interview will be there if you missed anything. And, of course, you can always go to fixflood.com. Fixflood.com, get all the information on bore care with mold care, the products, at all of the products that I'm sure everyone is going to need that if you own a home and your home was affected from Hurricane Harvey and the flooding that happened there. I mean, Jim, I thank you so much, bro. This was a lot of info. Important though, very pertinent information, and we thank God for you for coming here and your company training the pest guys so they can know what they can do, because people are, the rebuild is going to take, it's going to take a while.
But the encouraging thing is you do not have to get rid of the house. The house can be taken care of, and it can be nice and solid and sound, and it'll even be protected if God forbid you ever run into this again. The other thing I got to tell you is these people in Texas, they're amazing. I mean, we've just seen so many volunteers, people. Yeah. They're just there. They're helping out one house after another. There's no, the homeowners, there's no complaining. There's no whining. There's no woe is me. It's like, we got a job to do. We're getting it done. Yeah. I'm impressed with Texas.
Yeah. That is the same thing I felt when I was watching everything, just the humanity. I mean, Texans restored my faith in humanity. Watching that, it didn't matter who you were, none of it mattered. We were all in this. So yeah, Jim Gorman, thank you so much. Nisus Corporation. Check out the website, everyone. Fixflood.com. That's fixflood.com. Are you all? Do you have social media, Facebook, all of that? Just Nisus or Fix Flood?
Yeah, both of them have Facebook pages.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you do your house, send us your pictures and let us know what's going on. And if you have any questions, we've got a great staff that has the answers. We've got a guy here locally. His name is Ed Szymanski, and if you need somebody a pest control guy to do it, you can give Ed a call and he'll help you find somebody. He knows all the pest guys in the company, or I'm sorry, in the city. And we've got a couple of very smart PhD entomologists and wood scientists and a mycologist on staff. And so these guys can get down into the weeds on the technical stuff. If you've got a business or a home and you've got a real technical question, other than the basics, you can call us and we'll help you get answers to that too.
Man, thank you so much, Jim.
Thanks.
I really appreciate it. Fixflood.com is the website. Check it out and look for this interview to be on 97.9 The Box's YouTube page and at theboxhouston.com. Jim Gorman, I thank you again.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And thank you for listening to Access Houston.